I am Matthew Walsh, and this is my Canvas game. Right. To start off in the head of the file, we set a text canvas border, its width and its height. We create a number of bullets and we create an array to hold that number. So the maximum amount allowed in this game is 30. You have to kill 20 birds, allowing you only 10 misses. We have a start time, which is a new date object. This will be used later for the times displayed on screen. We set up our images, our bird, our bullet, and our background images right at the start. Our bullet object takes in the image its X and Y position and the width and height of the bullet. So we'll start off with a variable firing state width height. The position that is drawn on screen is calculated here. This is to make sure that the bullet isn't drawn inside of the player image. So we'll go to the move. The move function is called every update. If the X position of the player is greater than 300, then we're going to move the bullet to the left. If it goes off screen, remove the bullet. Else, if the player is less than 150, so if they're on the left hand side of the canvas, then they'll shoot the bullet right. Else they'll shoot the bullet straight up. Then we have our remove function, which clears the interval state and sets the firing state to false. So when we have our draw function, we use if the player's X position is greater than 300, or if it's less than 150, we need to change where the bullet is drawn on screen. So we're going to draw the image. The X position is now going to be move it negatively 30 pixels and positively on the Y. This means that we're going to draw the bullet to the left hand side of the player, and similarly if we add 30 to the X and 30 to the Y for them being on the left hand side, then the bullet will be drawn on the right hand side, or the bullet will fire to the right and be drawn on the right hand side of the player. Else just draw the image at the X and Y position given. So we got our getters and setters again, so we can get in that and we can set our speed. Then we have the player object. The player object takes no arguments but automatically creates its X and Y position on the canvas, sets the width and height and the speed. The speed in a range of 1 to 100, where the 100 is the fastest. So we have our draw method again, which again will be called every update. We draw the image and the X and Y position. The X and Y position are updated automatically depending on the player movements with the keyboard. So we have our getters and setters, and we create a new player object. Then we'll set up a birds destroy object. This is going to act as a count variable, so this is going to act as a count. And every time we destroy a bird, the counter is going to go up. So we have variable, our enemy object. Now our enemy object again takes no arguments but creates the variables needed inside it. Our X and Y position will be generated randomly in the range of 400 pixels for X and for Y. The width and height is set, and whether it is destroyed is false. So if we go to the draw, if the image has been destroyed, don't draw it, just return. Otherwise, draw the image at a new X and Y position, which is called further on down to change. So we're going to create a new image every time and draw it in a new position on the screen. So then we have our isHit function. This will check whether the bullet has hit the enemy object. So if our bullet's X position is greater or equal to the enemy's X position, same as the X position is less than or equal to the X position on the enemy object plus its width, and the same on the Y. So if the two images have collided then we're going to set destroyed equal to true, increase the count on bird destroyed, and if destroyed is equal to true, then we're going to call a reset. Now, the reset is going to create a new X and Y position for the enemy object, so it'll draw to a different position on screen, and then set destroyed equal to false. So then we have our getters and our setters again, and we create a new enemy object. Now for the game loop, we draw the player, we clear the rectangle, we draw the image to the screen for the background, which is created up at the top, and now we'll draw the player and the enemy on screen. Now we have our score counter. Our score counter, which will have a fill style, font, alignment, and baseline, so where the image will sit and what it'll look like. Then we have the number of birds killed and our count for the number of destroyed, and its width and height. Then we've got a method here, draw elapsed game time. So we're going to draw the number of seconds on screen every second. So we have our start time and our score, which are there, but our draw elapsed game time function here, we have our elapsed game time, which is a parsed integer, which is the new date minus the start time divided by 1,000. The divided by 1,000 will get us into seconds. So we begin a path, and again we have the stuff we had before, drawing it to screen, and we'll fill the text with the elapsed number of seconds, and we'll put it at the position. So moving up back here for our number of birds. This is our win scenario. If we've killed 20 of them, then stop the loops and alert that we've won. Otherwise, we're just going to do an enemy.reset, which will again draw another image to screen, another bird to screen for us to destroy. Then we have our keyboard. Keyboard is standard. If we hit the left, right, up, or down arrow keys, we're going to move in that direction. And a space is just going to draw a new bullet image to the screen. We have an event listener for when a key is down. And we have our game loop interval, which will be set to the game loop and 1. Game loop is the method and 1 is the value. And finally we go down and we just have our setting up of the canvas. We have our text canvas, our height and our width, our context, which is 2D, and the images that we're going to use for the game, and we have an onload function, which is just going to set them again, and another canvas event listener, which is again for a key press. So this is how you create the game. Let's run it. That's inside the website. We can see the seconds counter moving up. And the player moving around the map fine. The reason that the number of birds killed moved up was just me changing it, moving a line. I'm going to fix this now in a second. So yeah, sorry, just accidentally removed a line of code. So as you can see, when we're firing to the right hand side, we're firing to the right hand side when we're on the left position, and we'll fire to the left on this one, and we'll fire straight up when we're within that bound. Now see, the only problem with the game, we can go, and if we hit the bird, it automatically tells us that we've won and we've killed 20 birds. That's because in the draw method, I think it's drawing the same image at the same position all the time. So every time that bullet hits, and while that is redrawing, that bullet is in the same place. So it's just going constantly up on every refresh and hitting 20 birds killed, which should give us our win scenario. But other than that, this is how the game works, and our page for it. Thank you.